Ask Reddit. Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? The Reddit search function is intentionally bad, or not purposely bad, but they know how to fix it but refuse to encourage more new posts. God, it's so awful. That the government made this post to see if we were onto them. Holy shit. Cops go on ways and leave random police sightings to cause people to slow without actually having to stay and check on people. I think it's smart for them. It gets the job done of getting people to slow down without having to worry about pulling over a crazy person. The real reason Apple removed the headphone jack was to try to remove Square Pay systems as a competitor for Apple Pay. Well, I'll be damned. Rob Gronkowski didn't actually injure his groin after scoring his 69th career touchdown. He just thought it would be funny or appropriate. That's easily believable. Snapchat worked with the FBI to popularize and secretly test and improve face recognition technology. We went from, wow, this is like magic, to this is totally normal in a few years and there's no way that the technology isn't being used by law enforcement. Have you read the terms and agreements of Snapchat? It's not that secret that most social media is selling your information, including the one we're using right now. Lotteries are actually traps for time travelers. The development of the F-35 fighter jet is so over budget, so the military can fund other top-secret projects without making a new line item on the budget. It's the only conspiracy theory I believe. $10,000 for a hammer. D.B. Cooper, the gentleman that disappeared with $200K after jumping out of a Boeing 727 that he had hijacked, took the money and created. I was halfway through typing my Google search before I realized it was a pun. Mattress firms aren't only holding mattresses, buddy. After reading about this on Reddit, I got to thinking. Once I needed a new bed, I decided to check it out. I went in and was approached by two salesmen. They had this $1,499 mattress that I really liked. The sales guy saw the twinkle in my eye and knew that I must have this mattress. I told him I liked it, but I needed something more budget-friendly. I was a broke ass at the time. He then said, well, we can do this one here on the floor for $950. I told him, to be honest, I only have $400 to spare. He says, hold on a minute while I make a call. Then comes out and says, okay, we can do $400. Just come back in an hour while we prep it. I left, came back, and they even helped me lift it up to my truck. Honestly, the best mattress I've ever owned. I get compliments all the time. That the CIA posts this question every time so they know what the general public suspect. One of my favorites is that the government was behind #Throwback Thursday in order to get us to digitize and upload pictures that they would not have had access to in order to improve age progression or facial recognition algorithms. I don't know about TBT, but the 10-year challenge provided anyone who wanted to grab it a massive amount of training material for a face recognition AI. Multiple football World Cups have been influenced either by governments hosting them or other entities out for their own gain. 2002 South Korea or Japan and 1978 in Argentina are the two most obvious ones that come to mind. It's well known that international sports, including soccer and the Olympics, are huge septic pools of corruption. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember. But I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain, perhaps. You clearly didn't grow up in a white trash family. LJS is a poor man's Red Lobster. We would eat fast food almost every night when I was growing up, and maybe once a month get LJS. It was a treat. The oil and coal industries invested heavily in killing off nuclear power as an attractive alternative. These days, we have reactor designs many times safer than other methods of generating power, and the waste issue is something that could be fixed with sufficient investment. The government experiments on the mentally insane because no one will believe someone with that kind of medical history. I feel like people overlook the fact that the government actually did experiments on Americans and fucked at least one of them up so bad that he moved to the middle of the woods and started mailing bombs to people. Bob Vance was just trying to plug his business to the cameras every time he introduced himself. Kevin played dumb and was actually embezzling and/or laundering money. The editor behind Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2 worked to make the film sync up perfectly with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. The president of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. Funny enough, he once told supporters that if his own children were found to be dealing in drugs, they should be executed. Not long after, one of his children was found to be involved with a big shipment of cocaine, IIRC, still alive. I may be shaky on some of the details here, but I remember reading this on Duterte's Wikipedia page. I'm at work, we'll find the source later if anyone is interested. I don't know if it's a conspiracy theory at this point, but a lot of people still don't acknowledge that your internet searches and social media profiles area absolutely being used as training models by major IT companies. I was a drunk college student and had access to them to run AI training. If you still think you're off the grid, you're an idiot. Being frank, it's not a big deal if you don't have dark shit to hide. Those people are too busy building the new technological world to give a shit that you look at midget porn. But don't delude yourself to think people don't have access to anything you do on the internet. Vaccines are flat and the earth causes autism. Damn, you're right. Every single person to have autism is on Earth. That's 100% success rate. Some organization or group of people wanted all the Kennedys dead for some reason. Edit. The term conspiracy theory and its poor connotation was created by the US government specifically for skeptics of the official JFK assassination story. Just felt I should put that out there. This one stinks of punk rock scheming. The Laurel Canyon Conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s, which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading up on Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. Amelia Earhart was taken prisoner by the Japanese. There's another theory that she crashed on an island and starved to death. A skeleton from around the right time period was found, I think, and the flesh was eaten by coconut crabs. Really upsetting imagining a horde of giant monsters ripping her flesh off. The CIA was involved in selling crack to low-income black neighborhoods to fund activities they couldn't get approved by Congress. I mean, I'm pretty sure most people believe there was some involvement and it's just a matter of degree. But I think they were nuts deep in directly smuggling and selling crack through intermediaries to black communities with full knowledge of the Justice Department and executive branch. Edit. Dudes, I just want to clarify, the fact that the CIA was involved in some degree of drug smuggling is generally considered a well-attested fact. The degree to which they were involved in the proliferation of crack, the motivations behind this, and the degree to which the presidents knew of and condoned or even ordered all of this is a little more debatable. Women's pants pockets are significantly smaller than men's pants pockets to encourage us to buy handbags and purses. This is basically an open secret. That research of thorium as a safer nuclear power source was suppressed in favor of uranium research due to uranium's ability to be weaponized. Edit. On my lunch break and see that this kinda blew up, a lot of good information in the comments. I'm not a physicist or an engineer, my field is environmental studies, so safer, cleaner energy is important to me. That being said, I obviously have not researched this topic enough. It just seems to pop up in conspiracy topics often. See YouTube. Looks like a good discussion. I'll have to read through it all after work. I could be simple economics rather than active suppression. If you use uranium, we will pay for the enrichment technology. If you use thorium, you are on your own. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. Happened around Christmas. You might be right. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney Frozen, you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. And don't forget about Disney on Ice too. Michael Jordan's first retirement was actually a suspension by the NBA because of his gambling. Avoid a public suspension. I mean, if the league gives you the option to take a suspension or take a few years off, it's still technically the league suspending you. Oh, you made it to the end. Smash like and subscribe for more amazing content.